Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another week of BlastCast. Of course, I am Jarvis, and with me, as always, is my bastion of common sense, Lightning Dragon. Of course, 2.6.2 is now out on the PTU, and the build is very solid. I would honestly expect to see it released this week. The estimates on the production schedule said the 30th of this month, which means by the time this comes out, it may be a couple days, but who knows? It may even come out before I finish rendering this video, because it is actually quite solid from what I've been playing on it. And I've been spending a lot of my time out there flying in the Buccaneer, and that's the footage you're going to be seeing back here. It is a real joy to fly. It seems to me it's really a kind of best running as a fixed weapon craft. The reason is that the two guns, the ones at the tip of the wing, are size 1 at max, so you really can't gimbal those out. And this is kind of quitting to back to what we're talking about, where there's a problem with the way that gimbals are implemented.
We need 0.5 size guns.
Exactly. That's what you have to start doing now.
so we can gimbal our size ones,
or then we come up with better
systems.
Gimbal
the gimbals.
Gimbal the gimbals. That'd be good. Of course, Track IR is working. It works really well. And well, there's some bugs they have to work out. The fact that your helmet is kind of a static object, you can kind of look around. It literally look around, like you can pull your head out to the side and look around it.
It sounds like they added a second camera control, and then they didn't attach it to the first one.
It's not attached to your head. Your camera's like a free floating thing from your head.
Yeah, it's like you're actually moving the actual camera, which is like where the character's eyes are, as opposed to moving the head, which is a different type of look mode, which has been in the game for quite a while now.
Yeah, I think that's just a short-term workaround. But anyway, the footage you're looking at here, I'll kind of explain this real quick. I jumped in last night and I was playing for a few hours. I'm trying to get used to it because every ship kind of handles a little bit differently, and I had all my safeties off, and I kind of wanted to see what the ship could do. Besides, one of the things it has right now, the issues the ship has, is that most of the times when you're about to black out, your screen gets really dark, and then you black out. A lot of times there are some goat fade issues on some ships, but this one kind of goes to a light gray and then you pass out, so it's hard to tell when you're pushing it. So I did a lot of passing out on the ship. But what it is I jumped into the station, and basically there was a lot of people already out there, and a CIG dev was out there fighting, and they announced that they were out there fighting these groups, so more and more people kept coming in, so the enemies kept coming and coming and coming, and so we even had a caterpillar out there fighting it. It was like a 18 minute battle out there nonstop, and it was a hoot. So I just wanted to share that with you. I think I went southern there when I said that was a hoot. So but yeah, it is a great ship. It feels great, but as I said, to get the most out of it, you're probably gonna have to run fixed, and if you're not versed with that, you may have some complaints about it. A lot of ships, when they come out, they don't feel right, or they feel imbalanced. Now, when the Buccaneer first came out, it did actually have an issue where the shields weren't completely covering the body. You would have full shields pretty much and be taking damage directly to it. But after a tweak...
I haven't experienced anything like that in my, Hornet Goes, cough, cough.
Oh, I've experienced that with the Herald, too. The first time I took it out, my shields were completely full, and I exploded.
I have a video of it. It's in one of our BlastCasts where when we're doing the IM comparison thing for the kill times.
Oh, that's right.
In my video, you watched I get like 2 shots. One went through the shields, and the other one just like pilot killed me or something. Like I didn't even have any armor.
Yeah. That's exactly the kind of thing that's happening here. But I think with your issue, it was more along the lines of latency.
It could have been.
And I think that's where they have some of the issues there. I think that's one of the reasons they're trying to bring the shields closer to the actual body as well, to kind of almost merge them to a degree.
I don't know how they're doing the code, but honestly, it shouldn't even factor if it like hits the shields. What it should be is you should have a second layer. So like you have shields, then you have armor, then you have structure, and it's just layers of hit points, and you can area it out. So when you hit, if it hits shields, it's gonna do damage to the shields, right? Maybe there's small armor penetration weapons, hopefully not too bad, and then it just kind of goes through the levels of hit points until you get to structure.
Yeah, I can see that, but I think they like the idea of the visual bubble and all the effects that go with it, things like that.
I'm not saying get rid of the visuals, but I'm saying from a programming stance, it should be like 3 levels of hit points.
Well, the thing is about it's a very powerful ship. It's very fast. It's very maneuverable. And it's got the armor plating of aluminum siding. So, but I think that's the balance right there. A lot of times you get a ship we've seen a lot of ships come out that basically just add more armor, more
Cough,
maneuverability,
cough,
more
Super
speed,
Hornet, cough, cough.
more firepower. Well, I think this is actually pretty much. It's like it's got the firepower of a Super Hornet. It's got more speed, but as I said, you hit this thing just hit this thing dead on, and it doesn't have the resistances, the shields, or defense abilities to take it. Someone with physical weapons will just, if they hit this ship, they're going to annihilate it. I remember getting through a lot of battles where basically I've gotten out and I've inspected the ship. Now the ship doesn't show any actual damage like when you look at your indicator, and you go outside and the hull is like peeled away like all over the ship. It's like you're looking at understructure, you're looking at beams, or like, it's like, well, I guess nothing critical was hit, but you know what it reminds me of a little bit. We played a lot of World War II kind of flight games, and it reminds me of a lot of the turn fighters I used to fly, like for example, Yak
Zero.
Well, I was thinking, Zero or Yak 9T, Yak 9K. Those are very maneuverable craft, but the second they take a hit and something gets damaged, they're just done.
Yeah, no, there's no armor around the cockpit for the pilot. There's no self-sealing fuel tanks. It's
no
just
ejection seat.
Yeah, there's none of that either. But there wasn't a lot of ejection seats in World War II, if I remember.
That's true. Yeah, I don't think there were that many.
But I mean, you could probably state it to like the B-17s that actually flew home with large sections of the ship blown off, and they'd still fly. Maybe not quite the similarity, but the fact that you can take all that damage and it keeps going is, I guess, either a testament to how durable the critical components are, or how much redundancies are on there. Like, you don't need the wings; they're just there to hold your fixed guns, which are in the worst possible area, farthest away. Fixed guns.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out why they put the missiles on the inside and the fixed guns on the outside. To me, I would have put the fixed guns right next to the body or underneath the wings, and then had the missiles on the outside of the wings. To me, that makes a lot more sense.
Is I would have it where you're basically sitting on those guns, where you have basically, think of it as like a panel you can open up, right? So you have this section underneath that you open it up, and there's a bunch of free space, and you have the hard points in there, and you mount them, and then you close that to kind of give a little bit of armor protection for your gun. So you're sitting on top of your fixed guns, and then what you have is you have really close to the body, you have your missile pods, and then you have the gimbal mounts where they are right now, which I believe are right next to the engines or mounted on the engines.
Yeah, they're real close.
Yeah, that's what I would do. It makes more sense. I mean, it feels like there's space underneath the cockpit. I mean, you don't have an ejection seat, even though that would just be a
cockpit.
Seat. I mean, it's a big cockpit. So it's. I mean, maybe it's balance reasons. Maybe I don't think it's balance reasons. Maybe it's design decisions. Make it look good. But I mean, when you look at a lot of military equipment, like actual modern military, almost all of them are function over form. Like, form is a secondary thing. Like the F-14, a lot of people think is an ugly airplane, and then there's a lot of people that think it's a beautiful airplane, and it's just kind of, that's perspective.
I'm in the latter category. I love it.
I don't think the F-14 was a nice plane, but I'm not going to disagree that it was big and cumbersome and expensive, which is why they kind of phased it out. But it was very iconic. We're not going to do Ubisoft iconic here. So when they come out with things that are like, look how sexy it is. Like, I don't care how sexy it is. How good is it for it to roll? Like my Retaliator. I know I'm going to beat this dead horse, or we're gonna beat all kinds of dead horses here. But like my Retaliator, I want it to have great shielding, amazing armor, and deadly turrets. I don't care if it gets reduction in acceleration. My keyword here, acceleration, not top speed, because they shouldn't be different.
Well, on the subject of beating dead horses.
Yes, let's beat all the horses.
we are going to line them up and just beat lots of dead horses. So the thing is that, as I said, this is a great ship. But, and this is, when we're dealing with the IM debate, once again, it's not that, I think what the CIG needs to do is they need to give all the mouse users a really good virtual stick, not this terrible one we have. And because that makes it hard when you're forced to use a ship that has fixed weapons to fly well with it, because it's a terrible virtual stick for starters. And but it's interesting because for a long time, I own a lot of ships, and for example the Freelancer, if I want to use it with stick, I have to lock the gimbals. This is the first ship I've seen that's high end that's actually, well, for lack of a better term, shoe on the other foot, or basically someone's now using interactive mode can't utilize a ship to the maximum. And there's already been complaints. I've already heard from some people on the forums that some of the most outspoken interactive mode supporters such as Malagos has now been complaining on Reddit that the -1 system has got to go, which is funny because, you know, the idea that I proposed several videos back, and it's still on the towards the top page on Spectrum in general chat. The idea was to with the system was to help get rid of the -1, and because I know the -1's a problem. It's a problem with damage scaling. It's a problem with loadout choices. It's a massive problem, and I think this ship may unintentionally bring attention to a problem in a direction that I've been pointing out for a long time.
Not only is it a pretty damn good ship if you like fast and bursty ships, but it might also help us fix the controller balance. Well, not controller imbalance.
It's controller ergonomics implementation, really. I mean, we're looking at basically it's not so much.
I was thinking more along the lines of the gunnery balance and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to with ergonomics.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's basically an issue where you have an arcade mechanic trying to exist in a sim environment, and so it's a problem there. But as I said, hopefully, sometimes people need to have something happen to themselves before they understand it, and hopefully that's that.
I don't know. I've been punched in the gut before, and it hurt, but I didn't need to be punched in the gut to know that it would hurt.
That's true, but some people have to be punched in the gut. I hate to say it. I've known some people seriously, and unless they actually get punched in the gut, they just assume that, you know.
That's actually a real story. I was walking up to someone. This is when I was in grade school, because there's a bunch of people gathered around. What the heck's going on? People were fighting, and they were gathered around so that no one could see what was going on. And I don't know why they just let me through. And I kind of was like, oh hey, it's this guy, I know him. And then boom, I'm like, ooh. And then later he came up to me, oh I'm sorry, I didn't know why you were there. I was like, no, it's cool, dude. And I was all out of breath and stuff. And so yeah, I have actually been punched in the gut, and it knocks the wind right out of you.
I wish I could have seen it. I'm sorry. No, that was mean.
Bastard.
All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and get on with the rest of the show. But yeah, definitely the Buccaneer is going to bring some interesting discussions to the table, and it is a really, really great ship, joy to fly. So, all right, let's get on with the rest of the show. Of course, we had the happy hour this week, and this was actually a good one. This was not one where they're playing games. Calix Renault spent an hour trying to program a basketball game in the hangar of the Javelin, and I was impressed. This was really cool because we got to see the visual scripting and to see how quickly and how efficiently you're able to put something together. And in an hour, almost exactly, he was able to create a charge system for throwing the ball, different strengths, a rudimentary physics application for bounces, and of course even a scoring system, all within an hour.
Because points matter. They are the most important thing ever.
And the thing is that what was nice about this was to see, of course, obviously these things, this may not actually go into the game. This is something they have to pitch to the developer, to Chris and whatnot. But to see how these things can come in like that, man, I mean, I want to see them do this with air hockey, all of it. To me, it was very impressive. It shows Calix how capable of a programmer he is, or at least a scripter. And if you haven't watched it, this is one to watch. This is one not to miss out on. I think you'll find it really entertaining to see. And I was watching it, and I couldn't even keep up with what he was doing. I had no idea what he was doing. He's drawing lines and dragging connections to here to there. And it was just really awesome. Fantastic stuff. Of course, Around the Verse, the focus on Around the Verse this week was Mega Mass. We'll get to that in a minute. And it looks like they're finally starting to lock in their multifunction display design prototypes that are going to be used in the items 2.0. And I put some pictures of that here. Now, it's nice to see them nailing down concepts. I don't know if they're going to keep the hollow radar. I hope that they get rid of it. One of the things I love about the Buccaneer is it's using the old standard 2D radar. That makes it very, very usable. Sometimes where I couldn't see an enemy at all, it was nice to be able to default down, look at the radar, and know exactly where I needed to go. I hate using that little arrow. It's obnoxious. I hate the little arrow. It's not that's not the way I like to fly. Also, because it's really small and hard to see sometimes. But that little indicator on the radar is much clearer to me anyway. Of course, they've been doing some massive optimizations. Lighting has had a massive optimization. For example, the Caterpillar used to have 1,190 internal lights. And they've actually managed, at least light sources, and they managed to reduce it to 98 with no visual difference with the new lighting system. That's massive. I can't even believe it took that many lights. That's just amazing to me. And
Bit overkill.
Oh yeah. But I mean, this whole new system they have, it's more dynamic, and they don't have to like create all these different things for different scenarios. The lights will just change as needed, as they're scripted to do. Of course, human heads in the game, very high res. They're made to look very, very good. But at about 100 megs per head, they actually came up with a human skin shader now that reduces heads to about 24 megabytes. So that's a great thing, free up some RAM there. And they're also resolving, if not have already resolved, the issue with helmets disappearing. So for those of you playing Star Marine or the Persistent Universe, you know how people are at a distance, they're running around without a helmet. They've actually gone ahead and created a universal level of detail on them to keep them from disappearing at a distance. So, yeah.
From a distance, there is... Oh, sorry.
Well, I remember, like, basically where you would run around outside the station when it had anything on at all, because, the game doesn't really have any atmosphere system in it right now. It's more of a script when you enter the airlock.
Yeah, so now when I glitch through the walls and just get outside without my EVA suit on, it'll kill you.
Yeah, that's gonna be coming up soon. Actually, they're going to be changing the way the airlocks work because of the addition to adding atmosphere into stations in reality. And of course, for a PU system update, they're going to be implementing signal traces for detecting ships, parts, and indication of recent entry or exit of quantum travel. This is going to be a great thing because right now, as people, they get wanted levels, and you get that mission that pops up and says, that says to go after some pirate or some wanted person in the Persistent Universe.
Mr. Steely has a bounty.
Yeah, so you always know where he is right now with the current system. You always see, basically, he becomes a mobile waypoint to some extent. With a system like this, as people get wanted levels, they might be detected by going through an area, and it may relay the last point, but once you jump there, you may have to detect a quantum signal, may have to go ahead and break down the direction he was going, figure out where he was heading, and then jump from there. So kind of creating a bit of investigation other than like all the players saying, ooh, there's a wanted guy, and everyone just keeps chasing after this guy.
Not to mention the fact that just putting a beacon on someone is highly breaking of immersion, and
it is.
And just flat out cheating in most cases.
Well, yeah, but also think of it this way. I mean, like give example. I was on the landing pad the other day, and I don't know why this guy flew straight into the ass of my freelancer. Just flew in, and suddenly I have a wanted level, and it got worse from there because I had players chasing me. I had the law would spawn everywhere and chase after me, and then I'm trying to get to
You've broken the law, criminal scum.
Exactly, because I've been rear-ended.
Oblivion here.
Shoot him in the face with an arrow. It must have been the wind. No, so the thing is that so I try to get to you try to get to the station where you basically just go to the computer and you try to reduce your wanted level, but of course everyone knows where you are, and it just gets to be a real mess. And this, I think,
that reminds me of another game that shouldn't have those kind of things. I think it starts with a G and ends with a 5. Oh, it must be
Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, that's the one. GTA 5.
That's a mechanic that kind of and that's a good point. We play Grand Theft Auto 5 as well. And one of the things we don't like is that on all times the players show up on the maps at all times. And to me, it's not. Wouldn't it make more sense that players can't see each other and like unless
there's a thing you can do. You can call up Lester and spend $500 or whatever to hide.
To hide,
but
for
it
like
should
a
be
minute.
the other way around.
Right, you should pay Lester to. Well, that's the side of the talk. But yeah, basically the same kind of thing. Seeing everybody all the time, especially when they're a target or they're a mission objective, is very. It takes a lot of immersion out of the game, and that's exactly.
Not to mention that it's kind of cheating.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. I mean, it would be cheating definitely after the systems comes in if someone still finds a way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if you have to do actual investigative work, like think of it as like the detective games and stuff. Well, you have to go and talk to this guy to figure that out, or you have to go look at some book and read this stuff to figure out, oh, he's in this system or whatever. As opposed to someone just hitting the button on their keyboard and saying, okay, I have to go to this waypoint.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that goes. I'm really interested to see what kind of mechanic they use to actually to scan those down. Hopefully, it's not just a golf swing, and we'll go from there.
I'm pretty sure that was just a placeholder.
Oh yeah, that's just a placeholder. I just got to rib them on it constantly. So yeah, the of course characters development, the heavy outlaw and female armor is going to rigging and implementation, and that's all good and all. But of course the
I
mechanized
know.
Titan suits and R&D.
Well, yes. Okay, I want to go back a little bit because I know
Uh-oh.
we're both excited about this mechanized thing. I know you don't care because they keep saying female armor is being made, female armor is in rigging. But one thing they pointed out that I thought was interesting, and maybe you didn't hear it or just didn't care, but the way they did it is they just took the regular male armor and they just had they applied a wrapping technique to it.
That's true.
So they cut out a lot of like custom modeling and meshing. And I thought that was actually interesting because, for an example, let's say there's a full customization character suite. You can adjust, sliders. Do you have big arms, big shoulders within limits and stuff. So if you have a really tall and lanky character, the armor will just, mold to whatever you've preset. So hopefully that means we can have a very in-depth character creation.
That's true. It's a good point. I hadn't considered that. And you're right. I did hear that spot, but I didn't really consider it for far as character creation. So
yeah, I don't know why it popped out to me, but
hey, that's why I have you on my show. Other points of view, right?
yeah,
but yeah. That's actually really great thing there.
The most important thing.
Uh-oh.
Mechanized Titan suit in
Of
R&D.
course.
Fuck
Absolutely.
yeah! If we can get mechs in the game, like even if they're not full scale like Mech Warrior kind of things, oh, it's gonna be glorious, right? It's funny too because I've been watching a lot of Gundam AMVs. I don't know why they come up in my YouTube related things, and it's like I really want to play a game like Strike Suit Zero right now. Well, if they do these mechanized Titan suits, they might be like that. Maybe they don't have a main engine, but they're thruster driven, so you have very slow accelerations and stuff, and you're basically a big target. But you can mount like maybe extra heavy weaponry or something, so you can defend against ships that are more maneuverable than you.
Well, I'll tell you what the ultimate Titan drop suit ship is going to be. Caterpillar. You just open. I'm serious. Like all the sections, you just pack those things on the inside. The doors open on the side.
If they have like the legs like fold up to the chest, and then you can still get in the chest or whatever.
Oh,
you can have them and then you just like roll them off on the little thing, and you just airdrop them.
Yeah, so I'm saying the doors open on the side, and all these guys just running out. Yeah, they're just running out the side, jumping out the side of the ship.
Oh man, that'd be glorious. If we had enough people, that'd be a video we should do.
Oh my gosh, if we could do something like that, my brother's going to be like our dropship guy, so we're going to be good there. So yeah, absolutely. I think we're all excited to see. Of course, there's not a lot of information. Isn't the Titan suit what's supposed to be like the next great armor, next great space starship competition supposed to be?
I don't remember. I thought they were designing the heavy armor, but they're done with the heavy armor.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be. But if it's going into R&D, maybe they're just making another model, another version. They're going to establish the parameters with this.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because to me, it seems like I remember they were saying they were going to establish teams, and they're first going to have to design a helmet. And so, it's obviously something related to the characters, and I was pretty sure it was a Titan suit related to that. So
because
I don't know.
If I remember correctly, when Chris was talking about armor like a year ago or something, he's like, "Oh, you're gonna have the light armor, you're gonna have like the medium armor, and you'll have heavy armor, and then you'll have like marine armor." Which think of it more like an exosuit, kind of like Aliens, where Ripley's in the little construction bot thing. That's kind of what it sounded like he was going to be saying, because like you wouldn't be able to like sit in the seat while you're in this. But when they say mechanized Titan suit, that sounds completely different than what was proposed. And it's funny because they're the Crisis Guru guy, I can't remember his name right now. Anyway, he was talking about how he was joking about adding mechs into the game in one of the 10 for the chairman, but I don't think it was 10 for the chairman. But he was talking about that, and he's like, "Oh, I'd love to add those in there," and we just might.
Are you talking about Tony Z?
What? Who?
Tony Z? Is that what you're talking
about? I don't know.
That's one of the devs. But
but anyway, they were kind of teasing that idea, and it's like, were they teasing that idea because they were already doing it, or
with CIG it's hard to tell because sometimes they like to leave subtle hints or well, maybe we'll do this. They're like 90% of the way into it. They're just not going to tell you.
Yeah, they like doing that.
And I can't. My thing is with the mechanized Titan suit, because when the Star Marine came out, and we did a video about this, how people had done hacks for wall hacking. Someone's gonna mechanized Titan suit hack the Star Marine at some point in time, because it's going to be a game asset in game. Suddenly everyone's going to be spawning into a room, but like, okay, you got 8 guys on this side. One of these things is not like the other.
And it's glitching through the ceiling.
Yeah.
And it allows them to walk anywhere.
The enemy team comes around the corner, miniguns spin up.
Legs and gun barrels.
It'd be like, a civilian versus Ed 209. Not going to end well.
Yes.
So yeah, of course, the main subject of Around the Verse this week was about the Mega Maps. Now, it was more of a breakdown of something they discussed a while ago, and the best way to kind of think about it, and they gave some demonstrations with video, but the best way to think about it really is that you're outside the driveway of your house. You drive down the driveway, the house starts loading in, so to speak. Then as you get closer to the house, the things inside the house start loading into the door, and then as you get closer to a door that's towards a room, the stuff inside the room loads in.
You know, all the funniest thing about all this, though, is Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim have all done this before. It's streaming loading. So there's an area
Warcraft
around you that it streams in. Yeah, I guess. Well,
I mean, the only load screens you get in World of Warcraft is going into instant dungeons and changing countries. But for the most part, you can just fly. If it's in the same continent, you can just fly from one end to the other.
I think mostly what it is this wasn't part of CryEngine, where it is part of those other things, and so they're taking that system, and so we're going to have much shorter loading screens. And
better netcode, because it's only going to deal with the stuff that you're...
Yeah, there's a lot less information being thrown around.
Yeah, and of course with them also deprioritizing unimportant things like beer bottles and candy wrappers and things like that not being on the server side, and that's fine. I think this will also give people a general idea of how the new netcode is going to work as well, because it's going to work within that framework. And when, for example, when PTU Wave 1 was out, and even when we're doing things like Evocati, when there's not many players on the server, you get 60, 90, 120 frames per second on the persistent universe, and it is glorious. I will tell you that right now. It is amazing. The game doesn't even feel the same.
I think the best I've ever gotten the PU was 31.
Yeah, and that's pretty average actually. Most people are stuck in the 30s or low 30s or high 20s, and so when you're able to get into a server and the game's actually running towards 100 frames a second, it's not the same animal. Things feel different. Combat feels different. And I think this will address some of the disconnects. See, when they're developing the game, they're getting feedback from players, but all the feedback they're getting, they're fighting through latency, they're fighting through the slowdown, all those things like that. And so they talk about how when they develop something inside the studio, it runs fine, but the second it hits the persistent universe or in the game, it's not. The players don't feel the same way about it. Well, that's because for lack of, I would imagine that inside their own studio when they're testing internally, they don't have that latency.
They're using local area network, which
they're getting good frame rates.
Rate.
Yeah, they're getting good frame rates. They're getting good. They're not dealing with lag issues. And of course, when rubber meets the road and we're dealing with it on our end, we end up getting a whole different experience. So hopefully, the combination of the container system and the new netcode creates a situation where the developers and the players can start
playing the same game.
Yeah, start playing the same game, start communicating better, start seeing exactly where the problems lie. So I think that all comes along the line with 3.0. As I said, I think 3.0 is gonna come out. I think there's gonna be a lot of feedback, good and bad. There
will never be no bad feedback. It'll all be positive.
I think a lot of players who haven't even played yet will play when 3.0 comes out, because I think for them that's what they've been waiting for. And so I think when they come in, that's where you're going to see the forums blow up, and we'll start to see changes come into the game, changes that people may not even expect or even foresee, because they may find that certain things just don't mesh. So we'll have to see how that goes. And container system, that's extremely important to the tech and the dynamic of the entire game, and we'll have to see how that develops everything out in 3.0 on. And of course, finally we have here subscriber perks. Now, I wasn't sure about the way they worded it. They said that basically subscribers are basically the ship of the month is going to be a permanent for all subscribers. Now, does that mean that every month they give a ship out and that everyone as long as you're subscribed, you keep that ship permanently, or you get all the ships retroactively for you to subscribe to, and then they're permanently on there as long as you're subscribed. I mean, I'm not exactly sure. The details there were kind of fuzzy, so...
well, if it's going to be a permanent thing, it's probably going to be only for the testing and for Arena Commander.
Oh yeah, it's just for the PU and Arena Commander. I know that. But the thing is though is that for me it's just with the many ships I have, it's just another set of weapons I can strip off of a ship and throw on something else, which is
Or
fine.
weapons.
Or more confusion. More confusion at the terminal when I have to look at Super Hornet 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to remember which one I equipped the way I wanted to. There's nothing like running.
This one is orange. This one is yellow.
Well, no, because it's like right now I have several Super Hornets listed.
Well,
so
I'm making a joke about how they reskin some
I know.
ships
Oh yeah, but at least that would have a different name. No, like for me, it's like Super Hornet 1, Super Hornet 2, and I have to remember which one I outfitted in my hangar or in the system. And I run outside, like crap, wrong one. And I got to run all the way back inside. I got to switch them out, and I got to come out.
Load this ship right now. Please wait 30,000 seconds.
That's annoying too. But yeah, so I run back inside. I'm like, okay, let's get the right Hornet. So yeah, when I start having too many copies of his ships on there because of this, it gets a bit confusing, a little frustrating, running in and out, trying to figure out which one had the loadout I wanted.
You know what fixed this? Something they talked about a while ago, letting us name our ships.
That would be nice. Yeah, I would call it "Use This One."
This will be this one, and the other one will be not this one.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching the BlastCast this week. As always, I want to thank you all here because we've had a major increase in this channel in the last couple of weeks. Apparently, you've been telling your friends, or maybe you've been bumping into it. I just want to thank you for being part of the conversation. Now, I do try to reply to as many people as possible, but with YouTube's changes, I used to get notifications when someone would send a message. Now I only get notifications when a video comes out that I'm subscribed to. It's obnoxious. It makes it hard to keep up with what everyone is doing out there. I mean,
I don't get any notifications because it's not my channel.
Exactly. So I mean, someone may be commenting on a video that was from 6 months ago. I used to know, and I used to go back and answer a question. But now, with as many videos that this channel now is putting out or has in its total volume, I have no real way of finding out, and I wish they'd change it back. It's very, very disheartening. But we'll continue to do our best here, to constantly, honestly tell you what we think about how the game is developing, good and bad. We're not always going to be right, but we're always going to be honest with the way we feel about things. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.